Good morning, good whatever time of the day that you're listening to this, whatever day it is. It's Thursday today. It is Thursday. It's Thursday the 27th. I don't know why. It doesn't matter if I say the date. These have no significance to date. These have no significance to time, I suppose, either. I could do this at any time. Does it look like you know? You can't even tell what time of day it is. This room's the right state. You can kind of see in the corner here. Where am I? And just there. Just there. That's my sister's. I ain't gonna show you it because she's very embarrassed by it. It's my sister's photo from her register wedding when she had. We have you have a religious wedding and a legal wedding. A lot of the time they can do them at the same time. Now, back in the day, they never used to do them at the temple, so they never used to have a registrar there. So they'd have mom had them. They had them separately, and that's the photo from the very weird pose photo. But yeah, because we were clearing out, it was in the attic or one of the attic storage areas, and we were clearing them out, and that was up there. I forgot that was up there. So that's what that is. But there's all sorts of stuff. There's half a kitchen in here as well, just because the kitchen's going to be empty. And, it's a whole other thing. Nothing for you to concern yourselves with, but it's just a mess. And I work in here. This is my when I'm working from home room. As I mentioned, I don't know, I'm just talking about stuff, whatever. I have nothing to talk about really. Well, I probably have got something to talk about. Something will probably hit me, and I'll talk about something. In fairness, there is probably something I could talk about. It was just something I was just thinking about now. I've just come from a walk, and what have I done? I've done. Let's do it in miles, shall we? 5.2 miles. Let's say 5 miles. It's all right. I'll try 5 miles is a good one. Try and get 5 miles in. That's good to do that. For me, you do what you want. I ain't telling you what to do. Oh, this sofa's so knackered now. It's going so good. You just drop down into it. Yeah. So, what's happening? As I talked about last week, Monday just gone was anniversary of Dad. So that was 23 years. Just a bit of contemplation on Monday, wasn't it? I was working anyway, but just thoughts of thoughts. It's like I was saying, it's that I think I don't physically remember him, but I just know him from photos now and pictures because it's been so long. It's like when you haven't seen somebody for 2 or 3 years, it's like you don't like a lot changes within that time. So when you haven't seen or spoken to somebody for 23 years, you kind of you're left with images, aren't you? Images in your head, or just photos that you've gotten photoed there, and those photos are snapshots of time when they were younger. So the last time I have got photos of him just before he went to hospital, and he didn't look well, so I don't like looking at those photos. But yeah, so you're left with those. I don't remember what he looked like when he was in hospital, because obviously I was seeing him in hospital, and I saw, as I mentioned last week, I saw him when he passed away, but I don't recall the image, which is a good thing because I hate that, because when Bibby passed away, so my nan passed away a couple of years ago. Was it a couple of years ago? Last year? I think this COVID thing messes up your timeline somewhat rotten. It's last year. Yeah, it'll be a year this year. Was it 2021? 2020? No, it's 2021. 2021. Yeah. So when Bibby passed away, a lot of people. I mean, mom obviously went to the hospital to see her when they were allowed to, because it was all the restrictions had happened at the time. So certain people they let in, and you had to be all. But I probably wouldn't have been. I don't know whether I would have been let in or not. But I didn't want my last image especially when I couldn't talk to her because she was on machines and stuff like that. And when you couldn't talk to her and you couldn't communicate with her, and I didn't want the last image in my head of that because I'm more likely to remember it now. Maybe then I don't know. Over time, I suppose you do forget, but I was more likely to remember. I didn't want that to be my last image. And when my aunt passed away last year, I saw her in. Oh, she passed away at home, and then we went to the house and I saw her. She was before they took her. They laid her in a bed, and the family were all around. But she looked like like she was asleep. It wasn't. When you see somebody with like machines coming out of them, or their face is completely changed. There's lots of illnesses cause lots of different problems. She wasn't like that. She just looked peaceful, which was a good thing because I would rather remember her like that she was just asleep and that was it. I was like, right. Obviously, when you see them in the coffins, because within our culture, this has started off very dark, hasn't it? In our culture, they bring the body home and you see them in the coffin, and then they take them away to the crematorium afterwards. But that's a false image because that's like the funeral directors have done what the funeral directors do, and the body's altered. It's a bit different. So you see what as perfect as an image of that person as they can create, but it's created. It's not real, is it? Because they have to do whatever they do. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of what they have to do to a person, but yeah. Anyway, yes. So yeah, there was a bit of contemplation, but I've thought about this, and I did. I've recommended it to so many people. I watched something on it's. I heard about it last year, and I tried. I think it came out in January, so it's been about a year since it's been out, and I tried to get it and find it wherever I could find it, but couldn't find it anywhere in the UK. It was out in America. It was out on Hulu in America. It's one of their streaming platforms, and I didn't want to pay for a new platform, so I was seeing if I could get it from wherever I could find it. If it's streamed anywhere or whatever. Couldn't anyway. Make no difference. And then every so often I check, and I could never find it. And it was talked about by a comedian that I liked. I like it. Tom Segura. He was talking about it on one of his podcasts, and he was saying it's. I think he called it astonishing performance, and I thought, okay. And then he had it on his podcast because he does a separate podcast where he just talks to an individual about whatever. There's all sorts of people on there, and but I didn't listen to that one because they said that they're going to talk about what the things that happen in that, and I thought, okay, I'll watch it first before I watch that. So then it was just weird because it wasn't weird. It was I saw an advertisement for Disney Plus, and that came up on there saying that they're showing that because they own Fox, and Fox owns Star, and Star is on their platform now. So I thought, oh yes, it's on there. So I sat there and watched it. I think it was not last Saturday, the Saturday before. It's called In and of Itself. It's by a guy called Derek Del Guardio. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's quite a long name. Let's say Derek Del Guardio. It's hard to pinpoint what it is, and I don't want to say too much about it because it's definitely worth watching without knowing. That's why I didn't watch that podcast, because I didn't want to know anything about it. I know it was a performance, so it's like it's a stage performance. It's not theatre thing. Think of it in terms of I'm going to say magic, but it's not magic performance. And I'm going to say Darren Brown, but it's not like Darren Brown performance. It has aspects of those things, but it's an exploration of himself. And an exploration, and what it turns out to be, was that it posed so many questions. I've been thinking about it ever since. That's how good it is. I've been thinking about it since last week because one of the big questions was, and one of the questions he poses at the very beginning, the whole thing was about who am I, and that's what all I've been thinking about since last week, since I watched it, because he's really engaging because it's like I'm very, as most people know, as the great and powerful Kirsty has said to me before, that you're like a 4-year-old child with ADHD sometimes, that I get distracted. My distraction level is high. So if my phone's nearby, I'll play with I'll watch stuff and I'll have my phone in my hand and I'll watch this and read this and watch that. And so for something, it's only in the cinema that I don't do that. For something when I'm watching it on TV to really engage me like that, it's an hour and a half long as well. It was amazing. It was amazing. I want to watch it again because I think it might be just worth watching it again just to see if I missed stuff. Because I probably did. You do when you're first time around. But yeah, I'll definitely recommend watching it. So it's on Disney Plus. It's called In and of Itself. Derek Delgadia, and take some time out to watch it. See what you think. And it's like I say, it's the questions, because you question yourself. And that's what it was me. I'm to get my water. I wasn't just headbutting the camera. So you question yourself. Who am I? And that's it. That's an interesting. I should drink some Chardonnay. Because that's an interesting question within itself. Is who am I? Because it's not just who you are. Not you personally. I'm talking about me. So it's not because who am I to me is one thing, but who am I to other people? Because this is probably goes to that mask thing that I talked about before. Is that who are you? You're a different person to every individual. Yeah, you are an individual. You're a different person to it. There's a thought, isn't it? You're an individual. Get my words out. You're someone different to everybody that you interact with. Yeah, because people's perceptions are different. They might have, some people might see similar traits in you, like, oh no, yeah, he's like this, or he's like that, or that person's like that. But so how you see you is how you see you, but then how another person sees you is completely different. That's interesting. I've never thought of it like that, actually. I don't know why. It's probably like a common thought, but so yeah, that is interesting. That's an interesting thought, because we always have this like image, because we present ourselves in a specific way to people, and we assume that they see you the way that you've presented. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, they see you the way you've presented yourself, but they see it through their. I mean, yeah, because you don't know what they're seeing through their eyes. It's like when you disagree on how you see so a famous person. Oh no, she's really pretty, but then somebody will go, nah, I don't like her. She's really ugly. Oh, he's really handsome. Nah, he's super fit. Nah, I think he's fat. It's like everybody's got their own perceptions, and it's interesting. It's a thought. I'll have to mull on that one a bit more, because I've never thought of that like that before. Very interesting. How people see you. It goes back to the question, so who am I? Don't know. Actually don't know who I am. I wouldn't say it's an existential crisis, but it's an existential question. So that's like struggling with identity. Not gender identity. I think I'm pretty set on that one. I think I'm alright. I'll go with I'm bloke. I'm pretty solid with that. No, just I don't know. It's not even. It's like yeah, but it is. It's one of those. I guess everybody has those um, questions that you question yourself. I'm not questioning the world. I can't be bothered. It's too much, too big, or the universe. I'm just. I'm narrowing it down to myself, boiling down that point to me. Who am I? So I'm trying to figure that out at the moment. That's what I'm. I'm going. I'm not going through. It's not going through something. I'm just. It's a question that I'm thinking about quite. I won't say at length, but I think it's an interesting question to pose yourself. So, who are you? And I don't know. And that will probably be the title of this one. As who am I? And then I don't know. Yeah, it was nice to get. I had a little bit of feedback last week, and we'll arrange that. Sit down and talk. Go for a coffee or something. Whatever. Coffee's good. Caffeine get my brain. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to sit down and put the world to rights, as they say. But it's an interesting. It's an age thing. Have I become more philosophical in my old? I probably have. I think you do. I think you question them. You question things more. Question the world more. I question the world more now. Or question what's going on. Why? What? It's like little kids. Little kids have got it right, when they're always asking why. Why is that that? I think we should ask more questions. Whether we get the answers or not, I don't know. You have to find the intelligent people for that, because I definitely not one of those. I'll ask the question, but somebody else will have to help me with the answers, or help me find the answers. You have to tell me the answer. Help me find the answers. I'm just trying to figure it out, like with everybody else. What did I think it was in the Nutty Professor. What did they say? I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut. Was it Eddie Murphy that said that, or Dave Chappelle said that? I don't know. I think it was Eddie Murphy. Oh, one of them said it anyway, but it was funny. I always remember that. You know, you always remember silly lines from films. That was one of the ones I always remember. There's loads more. They just come to you in specific situations. So I wouldn't remember them off the top of the head. Top of the head. But yeah, some are just they're just baked in, aren't they? And when a situation presents itself, you go, with that line, I'll go with that line, and it'll make me laugh. It'll make nobody else will bloody get it, or if they hear it, or I'll just say it to myself, and then as long as it makes me laugh, I don't care. It's all about me and making me smile. Where was I? So yeah, that's what I'm figuring out. So if anybody's got any insight into that, of who am I, who I am, ask that question to yourself. What do you think? It'd be interesting to if somebody's honest with you of what they think you are. You have to find them persons that. I had this little brief text conversation yesterday with about when I talked about the void created when you lose contact, not lose contact, when you reduce contact. So I had this conversation yesterday because it came through conversation, but it's I'm not the only one that feels that way. It's that you give a lot, you put a lot out, and then circumstances happen, situations happen that COVID obviously created separation, and then it's who put the effort in to keep it all together, and who didn't. And there was a lot of non-effort. And I don't think it was on purpose. It was just like, oh well, this, and then, oh well, I'll get to that. You put it off, you put it off, put it off, put it off, and then it just becomes it doesn't matter. Yeah, it'll be fine, that's fine. But it isn't. That's what it is. Don't think. Okay, this is where I would think is. In terms of your, I'm just trying to think, sound it out in my head. In terms of that friendship, family, whoever that you were in regular contact with, be it face to face, be it phone, be it text, be it email, whatever medium, be it bloody smoke signals, and you've put it off and put it off and put it off, and then it's like sporadic now. Don't think, and this is me, it's not for everybody, and this is my feelings, and I think a couple of the other people I've spoken to as well about this. Don't think you can pick up where you left off. Yeah. Don't think that because you were super tight there at that point, and then now you've come to this point, and there's been either very limited or sporadic contact, and very general contact in between. Don't think you've come to this point now, here, where we are now, in 2022. Think that you can just go back to there and pick up from there. That ain't gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen with many people. It takes a long time to build up that, to get to that point, and when you haven't, you've created that void. The void again. I've talked about the void. You've created that void. Then you can't pick up where you left off. You might be out with some people, but it's still there's a build up to it. You can't go straight in, feet first, and say nah. But like I say, you might be with some people. It ain't happening with me. Got this massager thing, and I don't think and it won't happen with quite a few people, because it's trust, and not that you've broken any trust. It's like it just takes time to build up the trust, to invest those personal conversations, or those personal intimate, those inner feelings. Which is a shame, really, because some people need to get that out, and when you can't get that out with the people that you trust, it's hard to because you shouldn't keep that in. You need somebody to sound it out to. I always say it's good to talk, or at least understand it. And the thing that gets me through now better is that I understand it more. Why do I feel like that? This is proper digging in. Why do I feel like that, and why who am I? What am I? But yeah, so that's what that is. I was. This is. Can you hear it? It's proper digs. It hurts, but I suppose it's meant to. The thing is, when I walk on this side, around my shoulder blade, I don't know if anybody else gets this. It starts aching when I'm walking. So I don't know whether it's like I've strained something on that side. Because sometimes I'll stop. It's weird. I'll stop at the side of the road and on a lamppost or a signpost. I'll just sort of hold it and try and stretch my shoulder out. So I'm hoping this digs in enough for it to just loosen whatever it is up. Yes. Weirdo. That's me. I was trying to think of something. I'm going to stop this in a second. Sorry, it's just distracting me because it hurts. That'll do. This is it, by the way. Look into my eyes. I can hypnotise you with this, finished. I turned it off. This is my 4th pint this morning, and the problem with water is I'm constantly going to the toilet, pissing like a racehorse, as they say. Where was I? I hate saying by the way. It's just, like I say, this is why I always say that I should just have a note of stuff that I'm going to talk about, just so I know which way I'm going. I know I've still got to talk about this house fire. You know, some people have asked me about that again, and I said I will. I thought I was going to do it with Ant, but I've got to see how busy he is, so I can do the story. Because people are still intrigued. I can't believe people are still intrigued by that. It's been fucking 30. Probably been 30 years since that happened. But actually more than 30 years, actually, 45, so it's probably closer to it's probably over 35 years ago. 35 years ago. The house fire. I should go down to the, when this COVID's over, go down to the Express and stuff, because I think it's in the old archives, so it's not digital. And see if I can get the newspaper. When I made the front page of the Express and Star, burned down my house. I did burn. I think it's an over-exaggeration to say I burned down the house. Okay. We did have to move out of the house for 6 months, I think it was, until so they could completely renovate it. Because it was the upstairs that was badly damaged, and then because of the smoke around the whole house, they had to do the whole house. Fire's a fire, innit? That's what fire does. So that's what I've got to talk about. Dangerous. I'm a fire start. And then what other? There was probably some other stories that I've probably got to chuck in there, but that's probably the main one. Because I do remember them days when I used to walk to school, and I used to wear little short shorts to school. Even in the fucking winter, they made us wear them bloody things. When I was at junior school in Bilston, this was some of my shorts, and that's when I learned how to tie a tie when I was a little kid, because we had to wear a tie, none of this clip-on shit, a proper tie. That's why I've taught the boys how to tie a tie, because it's a skill. It's a skill that every man should know. Everybody should know. Everybody should know how to tie a tie. So it's not a man thing. It's like, but definitely for guys, you need to know how to tie a tie. God's sake, properly. At the wedding, Paddy and Bryony's wedding, I had to tie all the groomsmen and the groom the ties, sort out the pocket squares, because none of them had a clue, and I'm the suit man, so it was quite funny when standing there and a couple of them just standing there with their ties. Saying, "Can you do mine next?" Like, they all look bang on. And then there's remembering those days was quite funny. There's a scar I've got, you can't see because it's in my tattoo. It was when I fell on glass. That was in Bilston. A lot of my injuries happened in Bilston, actually. The external ones, like any cuts and stuff I've got, or when I was in Bilston. So by the time I was 10, I'd probably had about 4 million concussions. I broke my nose when I was in Bilston twice, both times in Boston. There you go, in Bilston. Bilston days. That house was for sale. If anybody was interested, if anybody wanted, I'm sure I went past. Because every so often I'll drive down my old road, and I'm sure that house was for sale. Not that I was going to buy it, but it was just nostalgia. It'd be nice to see what it looks like now, from what I remember. Because it was, because I was small. So, you know, when you're small and you remember your old house, it seems massive. It's probably tiny when I walk in there. It's like, oh, heck, it wasn't that big. Because I was thinking, imagine walking through the front door and the hallway was really long. Because there was a room on the left hand side, and then there were stairs going up, and then there was a door to the lounge, and then there was a door to the kitchen, and then and then there was a little cellar which didn't go down. It was just a small one at the top, at the end of the room over there, and it was a big square room, but that seemed massive. TV was over there. There's fire in the middle. There was a window in the corner. That's what I remember. But yeah, it's like when you're small, everything looks big. Now it's like it'd be just a perspective thing, couldn't it? I know it's changed because I'm sure I saw some photos of it, and they've changed the way the layout of the downstairs. But still, it'll be interesting. The garden was fucked. We had a massive garden, but it was so overgrown. And back in them days, nobody used to cut the grass. It was like actually overgrown, and every so often, you'd have about 10 of us in the garden trying to cut it down to a manageable level. Not that we ever played on there, but it was like no lawnmowers or anything. We had bought a lawnmower when we bought Hampton because we had like a proper lawn, so we had like a fly mow. I used to hate cutting the grass now. I love cutting the grass now. We've lost some grass now because of this work. But I quite like cutting the grass. It's therapy. It's like me time. Get my headphones in and just have a couple of hours in the garden. It's quite nice, especially when the weather's nice. Get the old tan on. I'm the dark one in the family, or one of the dark ones. Oh, it's good. It's good against the old sun. We fight against the old sun, but then you have the vitamin D deficiencies, don't you? But I do take mine every day, so I'm just fuck it, I'll turn it on in a minute. But yeah, anyway, I'm just rambling on about nothing now. So the takeaways from today. Takeaway. Who am I? And it's in and of itself. I'll put it in the description. In and of itself, and I'll spell his name right as well. Derek Dargadia. It's on Disney Plus, and on the star bit of Disney Plus. But yeah, definitely worth investing a couple of hours in that, just because it's so interesting and thought provoking. And he did a lot of shows, so some of it's edited. The main show, I think, is the one. Actually, no, I think they've interspersed different ones, just because, I mean, like with everything, like with Afterlife, it made me cry as well, because it was like, it's very emotional. Some of the stuff that happens there is very, very emotional. And that was the same with Afterlife. Afterlife was like, it was so I'm just going to go on for a second. Afterlife, that's season 3. I hate saying season. Series 3. Because 1 and 2 were excellent. This third one was fantastic. And as I said, was like, there's no program that's made me proper laugh, like proper belly laugh, or just, the out loud. I hate saying laugh out loud now because everybody just thinks lol, and I'm not saying like that, but it actually made me laugh out loud. And then you have tears in your eyes when there's bits in there, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so I'm not going to say what bits, but there's some bits in there. It's just like about the themes that he hits about loneliness and grief. Grief is a big one. That's just worth watching, of how somebody deals with grief. It's definitely worth just investing the time in that. Of this guy that's this is not giving anything away if you haven't watched it, but definitely watch it. Who's lost his soulmate, and how he deals with that. Because he's like, at the beginning he's blaming it on the will, but then he grows throughout the whole series. But it's so well written. Ricky Gervais, he's very good at this. He plays it well. He's written it fantastic, and he directed it as well. So, and then I was watching the outtakes of it yesterday. It's so funny, the outtakes. He's like, I know it's worth watching the program before watching the outtakes, but the outtakes are funny. He just pisses himself. He spoils most of the takes because he just pisses himself laughing at most of the time because it's the lines, and he's written a lot of the lines. I know some of them are ad libbed. Some of the jokes are definitely ad libbed, but then they catch him off guard. It's just funny. His laugh is funny because his laugh is really high pitched and screechy, which in itself makes you laugh. You know, when somebody's got a funny laugh, it just makes you laugh. So there, Afterlife 3. Afterlife 1, 2 and 3, if you haven't seen them. Watch them. Tell me what you think. I'm always interested in what people think. And tell me what you think of what I've said today. If you want to. If not, I'm going to come back next week anyway. So, I'm done. So I'll catch you in a bit. I got work in a bit. What time is it? Yeah. And I hope everybody has a good week or so. Whenever I'll come back and I'll do another one. Don't worry, I'll be back. So love you, especially you, and I'll catch you soon.